Offense brings the buzz, but someone has to stop them. There are some defensive gems to be found in round number 1, including a difference maker at linebacker, several talented corners, and key edge rushers. I spoke with some of ESPN's best football minds about the top defenders in this draft.
Micah Parsons is one of those guys that stands out. I mean, he is also the evolution on the defensive side when it comes to linebacker play. 6'3", a ridiculous 4.39 40 times. How does Micah Parsons play in a game like this on Sundays?
You know, we talk about the offense is controlling the middle of the field with the tight ends. Now you have a guy who can run 4.3, who's 6'2", 6'3", 240. So he can take on these guards. They're going to come off and try to block him, but he's got the speed to play sideline from the sideline. And if you think that's not important, just go back and watch the Super Bowl. Watch what Devin White did to the Kansas City Chiefs. The ability to blitz up the middle. Backs can't block him. So how are you going to block him? You're going to have to slide your line. You're going to have to make sure there's an offensive lineman there to block him because he creates mismatch against any running back. But more importantly, Kev, that size, that speed, he's scheme versatile. So you could put him in a 3-4 and bring him off the edge like a TJ Watt, like a Bud Dupree. You can put him in a 4-3 and he can beat Devin White. So when you have a specimen like that, you can play him anywhere. And then let's go to the most important down, third down. When you have a guy that athletic, how many times have we seen, let's create matchups with Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara? He can cover those guys too now one-on-one. So you don't have to change your defense because the linebacker is going to be assigned to the running back. So he just creates so much versatility for a coordinator. And on top of that, he didn't play last year, so he's going to be really, really healthy.
All right, Patrick Surtain, he has the pedigree when you look at his dad. He understands what it's like to play on Sundays. And then the size here, a cornerback, 6'2", 208 pounds. He's aggressive here. What does that mean for him when he gets the chance to play in the NFL?
The most impressive part about him, though, Kev, is his footwork. You know, sometimes guys that big can be a little sloppy. His footwork is on point. I think of him as a step slower than Antonio Cromartie. Remember the big cornerback that we saw long, could run 4.3? Now, Surtain is not quite 4.3. He's 4.4 in the 40, but he's the same type ilk as that guy. I think he's a plug-and-play guy from day one. You can put him out there at the left cornerback spot, and he'll be able to take on guys like DeAndre Hopkins, like Julio Jones, like Mike Evans in Tampa. He'll play for a long time out there at that left cornerback spot.
Yeah, and one other thing that also stands out, if anybody's making it to that third level, he's not afraid to make tackles.
You know, the game of football has become so horizontal. So offenses are using the entire field. What does that mean? That means the guys on the outside are going to have to tackle also. So now more than ever, like this is not when Deion played, when Deion said, hey, they don't pay me to tackle anyone. Well, now you actually have to tackle as a corner with so many screens and jet sweeps and things out there on the outside, because if you don't tackle, the zebra's raising his hands, it's going to be a touchdown. So it's very important. And on top of that, you don't want to be a 6'2", 200-pound corner and label as soft. Like if God is going to give you that size, you better be able to throw it around and use it and make a tackle every now and then.
Jaycee Horn, South Carolina cornerback. When you look at the size he's got, it's 6'1", 205 pounds. And how would you describe his corner skills on the next level?
He's smart, super, super smart. He's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to get physical. I love the way he plays. First of all, step on campus in South Carolina, you're starting. I mean, basically day one out the gate. So you've seen him start. You've seen him play super, super well. Just amazing ability, amazing feel, really good ball skills. But I think the best trait is he's got some moxie. He's got that cornerback moxie where you can put him on an island and you feel really good about it.
And he got it from his father, too, Joe Horn, of course, and that definitely translates. He's not afraid of anybody or any moment here. You mentioned that press man cover. How important is that right now in the state of the passing attack in the NFL?
Well, I mean, you have to be able to have those guys. If you don't, you're going to lose. Listen, you're still going to have a guy that you can say, I trust him to take half the field. I trust him to take away a number one wide receiver in NFL football. So I think if you don't have that, you don't have a chance defensively. You need to find as many of these guys as you can. There's not very many. I do think Jaycee is the best cornerback in the draft. I would take him over Surtain just because of his straight raw athletic ability. I mean, he's just so twitchy. He's so fast. He's so quick. Does a great job with his technique. I think he'll continue to learn and continue to get better. But if you don't have a guy like that on your defense to anchor your defense, you're usually lost.
All right, time for the cornerback conversation on Caleb Farley. He opted out last season, had minor back surgery in March. Do you think when you look at his size and his speed, is he a day one starter?
Absolutely. Physical player. Think Marshawn Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints, right? Everybody, obviously, and for great reason, people are nervous about the back surgery, obviously. But his physical skill set is undeniable. Speed, rangy, wins contested balls as well. But the one thing about Farley is physical. He will come up and hit. He will play these big receivers physically, try to get hands on them, go up with them and meet them at the top. And Farley, I would tell people this as well. He can be one of those interchangeable guys from safety to corner. His skill set allows him to do that. So I look forward to seeing him used in multiple ways. But I think he can be a physical, dominant corner in this league. And when I say a physical, dominant corner, that means I'm getting you at the line of scrimmage. I want to get up in your grill and play you like Lattimore has played Mike Evans for so many years. And that's what defenses are looking for now. We see how important it was for the Rams to get Jalen Ramsey. Long, rangy, physical corners are the new thing. I think he's going to be a tremendous corner in the league, man, because he plays with such physicality, has great technique, and is coming from Virginia Tech, where we know they play defense.
All right, when you look at Kwity Paye, Michigan defensive end, the one cool thing about him, and Michigan's moved him around, but he is an edge rusher. And when you hear about violent hands, help me understand, Pollack, the guy with the background on the defensive line. What does violent hands mean?
Well, there's a difference between using your hands and using your hands violently, okay? I mean, there's a big difference. And if you don't use them violently, you don't win a lot of pass rush situations. And again, it's not usually the first move. But anybody can. So defensive line is about catching hands and getting hands to those offensive linemen because they want to cheat. They want to hold you and grab a hold of you. It's about getting their hands off of you. Well, I got news for you, Kevin. There's some folks that grab you, and it's a little different. And you better have some violent hands to get them off. Kwity Paye, super twitchy. I think when you think of raw talent, he's got so much of it. I don't watch him and think he's a defined football player. You know, I don't think he has super great instincts. But if you talk about a guy that can be on the outside, that can be a blur and be twitchy and be fast and maybe develop into a phenomenal pass rusher, I think he definitely has that upside. But freaky athletic, powerful, stands up in his stance all the time. Even when he's inside, he's still standing up. And I don't think he's day one going to get you, 8 sacks and be like a Nick Bosa. But he's a guy that if he develops his hands more and continues to work on his moves, he's a guy that could be an elite pass rusher.
Gregory Rousseau, I'm fascinated by this young man coming out of Miami, the edge rusher. Runs a 4.7 40, 83-inch wingspan. He opted out last year, but in 2019, he had 15 and a half sacks to lead the ACC and just behind Chase Young. And then the stat that blows me away, he played wide receiver and safety in high school. Yeah. So when you hear all of this, and then you have that speed, and then there's a lot of raw talent here.
I'm glad you said.
What's your impression of the ceiling that Rousseau could have on Sundays?
He's unmolded clay because they not just growing on trees with his ability. He has a great understanding of where to be and where the pocket is breaking down. And that turned into a lot of sacks and a lot of production for him. You talked about the wingspan. GM scouts love it. Like most of the things that are being taught from a defensive line standpoint is keeping offensive linemen off your body, right? That was one of the things about I'm gonna say this name and then it's gonna come to people. Jason Pierre-Paul.
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
Into the league, but had a crazy motor, had a great feel for how to get to the quarterback, and then over time evolved into being a technical pass rusher. That's where Rousseau is. You are working with raw talent that's off the charts now. And look, even with him being 260, his body allows him to be 275. He can be a dominant force. It's all gonna be up to his approach to his business and how good he wants to get it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.